think it was kind of a, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was globally renowned on the entire analyst desk that it was going to go to the full 3 maps. So people expected them to pick up a map in some form, whether it was the first or the second. They won their map pick, which is the most expected outcome when you look at it on paper. There's a reason they picked that map, but hey, why let's talk about possibilities. We're straight into the pistol round. 2 frags going to be rolling in on either side. Flusher and MSL quick to find one apiece. There will be equal headings on a 4 versus 4. That's very early on into this round.
Yeah, now we look at Pronax will trade another, so... Well, the round itself still didn't get much time to talk about that. Look at the buy as well. 2 Molotovs in play. We have a Tech-9 onto Schneider. Only 1 player actually with armor. And well, Config now going aggressive. Will find one. Actually gets a second as well. That's nice work from Config, bringing this back into a favorable position. One of those Molotovs is now gone. JW not going to get anything done either. Cajun doing the damage, and in the pistol round, it's all coming up Dignitas.
A very nice start for them. That's exactly what they needed to do. They've come up trumps. The team play was there. But the key thing to look towards now is what sort of response will we see? Of course, in terms of economy, there's always potential for the Tech-9s and pistols to start coming to play, and we can already see the Tech-9 being invested on a player that I can't quite see because the monitor's over that direction. But it's...
Yeah, no, fully forced into this one. It will be Tech-9s across the board for Crims and Flusher. JW with the Deeg. And then just a couple of P250s in play on the remaining players. Molotov onto Pronax. Aggression from Rubino. But he's not going to be able to capitalize in this circumstance. And, well, now there's a UMP. They could try and make a little bit of extra money as well. Of course, a lot to ask, especially when you see 2 rifles currently ready and waiting to try and shut them down in the form of Cajun B and Config, although Cajun still over towards that A side at the moment. We know that the rotations on this map are very, very quick, so definitely not a reason to dedicate to the side just yet.
Indeed, as the clock is going to begin to wind its way down, but we really shouldn't be seeing too much movement just yet. Godsent, they're a whole lot of time to work with. They can choose exactly the way they want to move on to the B site. As you can see them lining up these Molotovs, getting ready. Of course, the one to expect, it's going to clear off that sewer kind of watery angle, which basically means there will be no player there to basically lurk around and catch them off guard as they will try and play for a plant. But then you have to take stock of the fact there's nothing there to counter Config, who's just darting around freely from barrels. He's going to fly on out. Will actually get punished by JW with the Deagle. Perhaps just a little too late as this UMP is going to be running wild. Going to finally be countered by Schneider with the pistol once again, which means JW now going to be allowed a free plant. We find ourselves in a 2 versus 2 match. Is quick to push on, trying to go for that punishing play once again as Cajun B going to mow him down with the Faust.
It's all down to 1 Schneider with the P250. Someone who didn't perform particularly well the last time they played this map. Magisk just creeping around the pillar, and it's actually going to be Cajun to catch him in the back. Nice, easy defuse. Didn't have a kit, in fact, so important that they get this done. The force bite is countered, and they should even be able to retrieve that second rifle as well. So not too much loss just yet. They will be able to get themselves a cleaner round in the next, although a little bit of extra money was made by the fact that the bomb went down. So players sort of around that 3K mark. Crim's a little bit lower on 2, so they will actually go, or probably buy down to at least 2K, just in order to have themselves something to play with. And then with 2,400 coming in the next round, it won't be too much of a problem to get a buy with the AK's armor and maybe even a few nades.
So not a terrible scenario at all for them to work with. Their goal in this round is basically if they can play for another plant, that would be ideal. But Pix is going to be kind of the end goal. And in terms of positions, it's going to be very much aggression. Going to be the trigger word for Dignitas, as it's going to pay off dividends already. JW, the first to fall. MSL, really the man to watch. He's got 3 players all around him with separate angles. He finds the first, gets up close and personal. Pronax, so will get punished. Rubino's there just to be the saving grace. And well, the pistols, now there really is no opportunity. The player with the rifle, Pronax, well, he's 5 HP. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, he manages to get 1 Flusher, hits the headshot as well. So at least doing damage in this round. You have to remember it was a minimal investment just buying down to around the 2K mark, and they've already dropped 3 players. A killer piece so far other than Cajun, and he is going to be in that impact. So a team ace from Dignitas, but I'm sure they would have liked to keep it a little bit cleaner than that. They lose quite a bit and will actually have to rebuy 3 weapons. Not going to hurt their economy too much just yet, but does leave them within touching distance of a reset.
The big thing that sits in the back of my mind right now is Godsent. They had the ingredients there with just these limited pistols, which means I'm very excited to see what they do bring to the table with these rifles now being brought up. In terms of utility, of course, they've got everything they need. They saved for this. They've waited for this moment. So I'm looking to see what choice they decide to make. We've seen them head towards B. Are we going to see a bit of an execute roll on out now? As Dignitas, there's one thing they're not changing. It's going to be the flat-out aggression. Magisk just going so aggressive. Finds one. Finds a second on Schneider. Pronax trying to do some damage of his own. Will pick up 1 respectively. Perhaps still just a little too late to bite back.
Yeah, Magic is someone who loves to go for that aggressive push up onto the party area, and it's worked out wonderfully in this situation. Not a trade, in fact, gets 2 before he goes down, and now they've just got to go pummeling towards this A side. They've got plenty of time to play with, so don't really have to go aggressive yet, but Flusher's still going to find one back. Cage him on the cross, he's going to look away at the wrong time, and Flusher's now found 2 entries onto the site itself, leaving Rubino and Config.
Leaving it wide open like that is extremely punishing. Config going to try and pull something out of thin air, but the answer's still going to be a flat-out no. Flusher coming completely up trumps right now for Godsent, stepping up to the table in a very huge manner, very Flusher-esque. As of course it would be him, typically, to find the last strike of the round, finishing it off with a frag on towards Rubino, and a very solid performance coming out from him.
Yeah, no, they've managed to get themselves, well, himself, 4 kills there, so really nice round. Magic started things off wonderfully, but it was just that moment from Cajun. A little bit unfortunate that the timing didn't pay off for him. The smoke bloomed just a split second too late, and he ends up getting taken down. And, well, that was what I was talking about. They were on the edge of a reset. So going into the next round, an extra 1,900, it won't even be anything too crazy. We got Rubino on 1,400, Cajun on 15. So, again, they don't have a huge amount of money to play with in this circumstance. So a big opportunity now for Godsent to capitalize. Schneider will start things off, but takes a hefty amount of damage, 84 HP lost already, so definitely an opportunity for some damage to be done. Was Magic's the only player with any Kevlar who goes down in return. Config with a Deeg as well. We definitely know that he can use this very weapon, and, well, Cajun up close, he'll just be removed by JW.
It should just be an open and shut, simple but round with clear-cut isolation. Rubino, he's going to make it a little bit painful, but it's nothing too crazy. Config now the last man standing with the Deagle. Will rattle off a couple of shots, but it's still just going to be tagged as JW and Schneider. They will walk away somewhat dangerously low, but still intact nonetheless. And now the thing that sits with me for this round, and this is almost a fatal thing, Tom, someone needs to sit Fountain on the Godsent side and just hold the push. Because Magic keeps doing it every single round. He even did it on the eco round.
Just nade him.
You can even, yeah, you could pre-nade it.
Just
you literally could pre-nade it, and he'd be dead.
Because he has pushed that now, what, 2 or 3 rounds in a row. It's been finding frags. Look to see whether or not he's going to do it again. I suppose until he's specifically punished. I don't know why he wouldn't, but he is actually right up close and personal once again, a little bit further back. And in fact, he's just going to be there to counter. Finds 2 again, which is definitely not supposed to happen. It is a trade this time as Cajun is lost in the meantime. Nice shot from Flusher, spotting Config just before the smoke blooms, and that's going to give him a free frag, and definitely looking stronger already on this map. Godsent leaving 2 players, Rubino, MSL, to try and salvage this round, 1 per site, leaving their defense very much split, and there's quite a bit of utility as well for Godsent to play with.
Comes down to reliance on hitting the shots and basically getting the jump. If they're left unaware and don't quite find the first frag, it could crumble, but it finds the first, going for the continuous spray down towards the second. The answer's still going to be a flat tap no, as Pronax. He will slam that door straight, flat shot into the face of MSL. Now Rubino, he's left on the island of the B site, charging straight up through Fountain. Really going straight for the A site, but even at this point, there is no kid in play. He does have 2 flashes, he has an M4. He could try and do some damage on towards Pronax, catch him off guard. But even then, damage feels like it may be the only factor, as he will actually pick him off, so going to be popping the flashes and getting a little bit more aggressive. At times, certainly not on his side.
Doesn't have a kit either, and that's definitely a problem for Rubino. Flusher, all he has to do is play the time, which is something he is a master of in after plant positions. You would not want anybody else, and exactly what he needs to do. Just plays the time, is even going to go running after Rubino, and, well, it will be Rubino to fall. So, clean in the end. Every single player dead. The bomb will remove Flusher from the map as well. But that works quite nicely for the T's. Obviously, they would have been nice to keep some players on the board, but they have left their opposition with no money. They've left them with nothing to play with, meaning that in the next round, yeah, sure, they'll have 2,900 extra. It'll be something for them to buy up with, but not in this circumstance.
Indeed, is looking to see if the MAC-10s actually are the weapons to find the frags in this round. It's going to be the money-making goal on the Godsent side of things. But Crims, he's going to be the man to actually charge him first with the rifle, but it will be stolen away by Pronax, who finds 2 apiece. It's just going to be that money-making round after all. Magisk, he finds himself a constellation frag on towards Schneider, but there is going to be no saving or any funny business taking place, should I say, today, as he will find his life ended in a very quick fashion.
Yeah, that couldn't have worked much better. A lot of the damage done by the rifle, and then Pronax just steals away 2 kills, but I don't think they'd be unhappy with him stealing them, because he made a nice amount of money back in return. The economy starting to look pretty decent on the Godsent side of things, as they have themselves AKs and around 7K on a couple of players as well, so not going to be skimping anytime soon. In terms of the buyback up, Rubino actually the one to play the AWP, and I imagine that is playing relatively close over towards the short position, and he is going to do just that. Actually goes for the early pick, finds it, and now looks to see where the rest of the players are, although none of them are in that sort of circumstance at all.
Dignitas, with this uncontrollable, explosive aggression, it's constantly finding the pick. Practically every single round they employ this sort of playstyle. It's successful in a very early on fashion. Godsent, though, they have been able to respond here and there in terms of finding the towards later round trades, and in terms of just playing the later round, they've played it, frankly, put better. And that's for Dignitas to try and fix now, as they do have the one-round disadvantage. Crims, he's up on the boost. Of course, the flank is going to be coming in. Magisk will find one cage and be quick to find another. Still just quick trades nonetheless, and well, it means the Godsent actually don't come out against this one. JW and Schneider still left somewhat awares over towards the toilet, deciding is heading towards the A to smart call. Of course, they have to kind of make that decision very quickly because the clock is running down.
I think it could actually end up better for them, because if Rubino is able to just find a pick with the AWP, it leaves only one player left, whereas if they go together here, yes, they're up against rifles, but the AKs are always going to be favored. The only advantage the CTs have is their positioning, so they have to find that first shot. MSL, very good positioning, ready and waiting, is going to find almost a kill onto JW, down to just 10 HP, and now the peak from Schneider will be finding that first kill of the engagement.
MSL going to be trying to come up over
Oh,
towards them. I think he's right behind them. Such an opportunity for him to do some damage. MSL will claim things back with a frag grenade nonetheless. Clawing it to a 1 versus 1. We're on board with Schneider as he's just going to be peeking around this bomb plant spot. Just waiting to see if MSL will opt to go for it. He's going to go for the one-tap, but MSL, he's too quick on the trigger. Takes him down a peg. He's going to go searching for a weapon. And eventually going to be toggling on for that long 10-second defuse.
Yeah, Schneider, that shot onto Config was just ridiculous. Hit the instant headshot the second he came around the corner, was just waiting for him. I was almost certain they both get sprayed down, but it doesn't matter in the end, as MSL does the damage, takes that 1v1 duel. The dunk also coming onto JW was very nice, but now it's crunch time for Dignitas. They've had their loss bonus reset. Their money is not in a good situation at all. Only one player staying alive. Rubino again onto the AWP, but it is once more glass cannon. And on the other side of things, full AKs, full nades, 4 Molotovs, plenty of utility to work with. And already there's that counter flash. No peek for you, Magisk.
Finally, this explosive playstyle starting to be countered by Godsent. It's working wonders for them. As we already mentioned, their late rounds have been on point. Now if they can shut off this early round, this is where they can bring things back. But Cajun B, he's going to be the gatekeeper this time around, finding himself one with the Famous. The trade will come in from Crims, because now Magisk, he's going to be the one just peeking out, trying to do some work of his own over towards this site. Finds himself a tag, not quite enough to connect a frag, but nonetheless still damage being done.
He's hit the headshot onto Crims. JW is also very, very low, leaving them with not too much to play with here. They have to be very careful with their HP, but of course, one shot from those AKs will do the damage. You can see almost a stack now onto A as the rotations come very, very early, but Schneider, he's having none of it. He's still around that connector position, waiting to go back towards B. They're not dedicated just yet. The bomb towards long does suggest that they may just be waiting to hope the players do rotate away, and then they'll go back towards A once again. And, well, you can actually see that coming into fruition. MSL goes aggressive, finds a frag, looks for a little bit more. Not going to be countered just yet, but Crims again trades, but Magisk still in position to do the work, leaving 2 left.
All he has to do is hold the angles, and it's going to pay off. JW going to be the first to fall, follows up with the second on towards Schneider. Moves around, ultimately going to fall into the hands of Dignitas. The big problem for me there was it felt like they were just ready and waiting for the push to come in, and Godsent, they just let it fall away from them.
Well, yeah, I would have liked to see Schneider maybe go and make a bit of noise over towards B to try and pull a player away, but a lot of that came down to Magisk. He did a lot of the work there, just maneuvering himself onto the A site and finding different picks. So nice work from him. He has gone aggressive multiple times and shown how he can play passively too. So finally, Dignitas take the lead. They're on that CT side, so it's what you expect at this stage. However, Godsent, they're not done yet. They still have another buy. Still plenty of utility on the majority of their players, although Crims a little bit low on cash. But let's see where they actually go here. And early on, heavy presence on B. I think Dignitas almost expecting a B push just because of the amount of times we've actually seen A coming out from Godsent at the moment. Of course, not too much of a problem of changing it just yet, and already Magisk will have his life ruin. The aggression this time not paying off. And And only 4 players now to defend versus 5.
One perk for Godsent is this aggressive style that Dignitas is playing. It's very easy to shut down because you basically just have to wait, which we mentioned just how strong Godsent were when they were playing these building block rounds. It's huge for them. So now Marcel, he's just going to be playing his patience card of his own, holding the angle and seeing if Pronax will eventually decide to go for this push, which you can see he's got the flash in hand. He's having extreme thoughts about going for this one. It is going to pop. He's now going to be flying out, going for the peak, but MSL still just too quick on the trigger. Will punish him. It's going to be a frag falling back into the hands of Godsent. And it'll be back to a 4 versus 4.
Yeah, this is an even scenario now, but the time definitely favors the CTs. 30 seconds. Godsent, they do love to run this clock down. And look at the positioning. They're both playing over towards the right side. Not really giving too much away, and this is not something that can be expected. Surely they won't know both players are here already. It's going to be Flusher. He pushes in, but just the trigger control. Rubino almost getting caught out. Has to be careful. Crims doesn't know either, and this is just getting shut down. Schneider even going to kill JW in the ruckus, and this leaves just him left. 8 seconds of time has ticked away. He does have the bomb. He's got to go for this plant very quickly, and he's just taken too much time. There's no chance of him planting the bomb, and I'm not sure what he was doing there. Yes, he had 1 HP, but why was he faffing around?
So many questions about that round, not even just the kind of elite round scenario with the bomb plant and the FAF coming in, but there's also the fact that the pick was given away early on with a bit of long aggression, and it all just began to crumble very early on. The frag did not need to fall into the hands of Dignitas in that style of fashion, and there's just a lot of questions left unanswered, as we are still looking at a 6-4 scoreline. Godsent, still a good scoreline for them to try and work with. We can't knock anything away from them, but there's still these fatal flaws that we're, well, I think we can say very concerned about.
Yeah, timing, definitely one of them. Something that will come with more and more practice, it has to be said. It's very difficult to come into a team, even if you have played before, and get the timing nailed down straight away. But that was just a big, big problem for them. And, well, Rubino bought them enough that by the time the bomb actually went to go down, well, Schneider, yes, he faffed around it a little bit, but even when he got the bomb, he had 8 seconds to do everything and find that 1v1. Either way, it is going to be a 6-4 scenario now. Dignitas have taken themselves the lead. Not too good on utility, but the buy on the Godsent side is not anything to rave about. They have lost 3 rounds in a row, and yeah, they'll get themselves to 900, but this is pretty much a full force. Only Schneider really saving any money at all.
Finals with Godsent just being felled one by one. Pronax, he will burn one away, but it's only one. At this point, it's going to be Flusher trying to find some commiseration damage with the Deagle, but the answer still just going to be a flat-out nose. Dignitas, well, they're playing to win. Godsent, they're putting in these attempts, and I'm looking to see what they can do with these pistols. And the reason why I do want to see what they can do in terms of these Tech 9s and almost balancing of the economy is down to one factor alone. And in that first map, we witnessed something where they brought these pistols to the table, they went for a quick play, and it worked out in a huge manner for them. And if it follows through again in this round, it basically proves the point to me that I want to see them just speed things up sometimes.
Yeah, that can be a thing that a lot of teams get stuck on, where they change the way they play for pistols and then don't stick it through. Already a very aggressive push, but Magisk again, he's holding the wall, does everything, well, that he needed to do, really, and takes 2 frags, leaving just 1 player remaining. Pronax will find a nice headshot, though, takes down Config. Of course, any damage is good damage. Their economy hasn't built up to anything crazy just yet. The maximum amount they have is 3,500, and that was actually on Config, who's just lost his life, so he's going to have to buy back up in the next round. So definitely still opportunities for Godsent here, but, well, not if Magic is just going to take your head clean off. 4 players surviving, and another round on the board, and, well, this is where we will see that buy back up now from Godsent. This is where they have the money to do so.
So we've discussed the fact they've got the buy, and well, the most important thing just coming off of that is what they choose to go about it. And in terms of the buy, it's going to be the AWP in the hands of JW, which is going to be a huge factor in terms of this pick-based play. We saw it start to work wonders for them in the first map here and there. They struggled to get it up, though. And that
I wouldn't say wonders.
Well, it did damage when they had it up, but the problem was less that it wasn't doing the damage. It was they only had it up a couple of times.
Ooh, Rubino again going for this aggressive push into water, but it's Magic. How is he getting away with this so many times? He's got support this time as well. Cajun finds another frag. They're just not punishing him, and, well, he's definitely a player. You let him run riot, and he will punish you time and time again. Another early frag comes out for Magisk. Config now even feeling more confident himself, runs through the smoke, and this is almost like reverse roles. Godsent, the ones with their backs against the wall, and Dignitas just styling at this stage.
Just being completely forced out of this one, and well, the huge thing that sits with me is JW was one of the first players to fall. It does kind of sit at home with me, the fact that he is struggling to keep this AWP in play and alive, and also just getting up due to economy, which is just a lot of factors that don't quite sit well with him being a player that's trying to bring back this AWP into play. But now, what is the response from Godsent? What is their play here? Because there really doesn't seem to be much opportunity for them to get themselves even onto a site. Looking at a very kind of hunkered down Dignitas, they're just going to be holding the angles. There's no need for them to go for any information plays. They're in a 4 versus 2. They're going to have a rough idea that Crimmins is low. They won't quite know that he's on 10 HP, but they're going to know he's, well, on the brink of death, suffice to say. Which means they are just going to be creeping up in terms of heading towards their B site. And that seems to be the game plan, as now the nades are going to be expended. But MSL, he's going to be the gatekeeper, finds the first, goes for the second. Nearly makes a mess of things, cuts it very, very close. He will actually fall to the hands of Pronax, but he buys the time for his teammate to find a quick trade.
And now we look at the monetary position of Godsent. They have enough to just go for flat AKs, which actually seems like the idea here.
Well, that's all we've seen from them this entire series, pretty much. We've basically seen the AWP like 3 or 4 times, albeit in the first map it found a couple of picks, but aside from that, the rifles, have they really... I think the big stat in the first map was basically the buy rounds just didn't do anything.
Yeah, to start with, the buy rounds were actually fine for Godsent. The first 4 rounds going their way, they reset the economy a couple of times on the Dignitas side, and it was looking good, but since then they've now lost 6 rounds in a row. Look at this aggression coming out from Dignitas. This time they do get traded back, but they are playing with so much confidence at this stage, just taking the game straight to Godsent and not giving any chance away. Rubino on the site will get his head removed by Flusher. And this leaves Magisk up close and personal, looking for a little bit more. Will find another, doing the work all the way across the board, looking like a star player in this team. And he is going to end it as well, make it 10-4. And Dignitas are getting ever closer. He is 19-6 at the moment. And he's finding the first frags almost every round.
And the big reason for that, he's playing with flat out no fear. He has no problem with facing off against these players. No problem with pushing into Molotovs to go hungry for the frags. And there is no response. He's being allowed to rain havoc across this map. And, well, if there's no one there to throw him in a cage, why not let the beast run free?
Yeah, he has been punished a couple of times, but most of it he's getting away at least with 1, and more than often he's getting 2. This time it is going to be JW to fall. It must also be very frustrating losing a player every single time just for aggression from Magic's, not able to counter it really even once. I don't think he's fallen without a frag anyway. Maybe once or twice the whole game, and that's crazy so far. Either way, it is an even trade to start things off. MSL still in quite a far forward position with Cajun there to back him up towards long. Again, we are falling back to an A push now from Godsent, but they have plenty of time to play with, still 1:05 left on the clock. And, well, I really am looking at MSL's position here because he is going all the way around long. The only problem is he hasn't found any information about where they actually are, but if he cuts back in, he may just find the whole team. And there you go, he's already found one.
Now they have the kind of the inkling of he's behind them, so it's almost just that sheer fear of doubt. And he's just being allowed to rain havoc. Now just replacing this confidence role of Magis. Is he to find himself another? And Schneider and Pronax, the last 2 left remaining. 40 seconds coming up on the board. Of course, they are going to be darting on over towards the B side, but just swift interruptions being made by Rubino as he knocks them both down. As we find ourselves in 11-4, and I was hoping to see something from Godsent, Tom. I was really, really hoping.
The thing that's really just mad to me is if you said to me, okay, MSL is going to be taking on some of these players and just out-fragging them straight out. Like, he is an amazing in-game leader. I don't think there's any doubt of that, but his fragging power hasn't been there for quite a while. So the fact that he is just walking in and going, okay, I'm going to take one for myself, I'll take a straight-up duel with Flusher, and he's winning it. It's not like it's even a close scenario at the moment. He is currently 13-11, second on the board only to Magisk, who's been going absolutely ham. And that's just crazy stuff. Like, they're being allowed to do whatever they want to do. They are now onto that T side, which is definitely the more difficult, but let's see what they have to offer here. And by the looks of it, this is going to be an aggressive push into Monster to take this pistol round straight to their opposition.
He will find the first. That's a very good start. Can he follow up the second? The answer's still going to be a no. Config there to do the trading damage. Now Schneider still going to be filling in the role, spamming away. The shots getting a little bit frantic, but Pronax and JW starting to really add meat to the flames. As this one is getting very, very close. It's all going to be on the shoulders of Config. He's rattling off the shots. but Schneider's there, the man from above, to dive on down
He
and
gets
claim
4
himself a frag.
kills there, Config. Just not quite enough. 4 kills and a pistol round lost. They get a bomb plant at least, so they've made themselves a little bit of extra money. And, well, Config actually with 3,500 on the board, so they could go for something a little bit overzealous here. I would say it's probably a better idea just to save and go for a next round buy. You can see from the buy coming in at the moment from Godsent that they are going to be getting themselves 3 rifles on the board and a couple of SMGs earlier on. This is now, what, the 3rd pistol that Godsent have won. They're now on to 5 rounds once again, so definitely a little bit skeptical with what they have to offer. Obviously now they are on the CT side of a CT-sided map, but again, this is looking like more aggressive pushes coming out. Crims should just have a field day here, already finding 2, looking for a little bit more, and that's a nice easy round coming out from Godsent, keeping things perfectly clean, making some extra money, saving some money more importantly, and now we have the buy coming out from Dignitas.
Yeah, looking to see what Dignitas bring to the table in terms of these T-sided buys. But Godsent, they are on the side of the map, something you did dearly mention. What is their plan here? What is their game plan going into the second half and basically deciding, well, what is the counterplay? Because the aggression coming from Godsent, well, Dignitas, should I say, it's going to be much more expected on the T side.
I don't think they need a counterplay. I think they just need to go back to playing their game because their setups used to be very, very good. However, already very aggressive push coming out all the way down Monster. This is the 3rd time in a row it's happened, and already we see the bomb going down. A couple of entry kills either way. A lot of damage done by the utility of the Godsent side, so definitely an opportunity, especially with this UMP, to do a little bit more. Pronax missing the spray, though, and this is a little bit problematic. However, there's Schneider to do just that little bit more. Flusher coming in from short as well, and this is just cleanup at the moment. Config, however, trades it back, 2v2. Make that a 1v2. Schneider, HP advantage. He's got to try and find both of these players. Manages to grab himself 1. It's all down to Magisk.
Schneider, he has to make the choice. Does he stick? And it seems so. He's just going to be holding this bomb, and it's going to go off any second now. And he flicks up and finds the follow-up frag. A huge play to roll on in, and Godsent, they will walk away with now their 7th round on the board, so they are starting to make this one much more competitive, doing what's needed to be done, and, well, maybe it does come down to them playing their own game, whatever it is. It's seemingly working for them so far. Very much early days in the second half, but if they can keep this one going, we certainly have a match on our hands.
Crims has a Molotov now, so I am less worried about that sort of aggressive push coming in. You can just throw that down, because that's another thing, that utility is always something that makes a big difference on the CT side, and, well, it makes a big difference on both sides, but especially the CT side, because you can just slow down pushes early on. Flusher having a lot of players coming his way, and Magisk is just too quick, finds that first frag. Schneider will manage to find a frag back in return, so it's not too much of a problem just yet. But of course, damage is always vital if you're going to be taking rounds on that T side, especially if you can break that economy. Only Schneider with any money at this stage, 5,800. Everybody else with below 2 grand. So not anything in the coppers just yet for Godsent. So anything more from Dignitas, drop a couple more players, especially with Config on that rifle, it would be great.
It'd be great, but it's also going to be very, very difficult. Config, he may have the opportunity with the rifle. He's got the armor as well, which is a huge factor to take into account, but JW, he's there just going back into action with this turret-like play, just spamming off the shots, hoping that something will eventually connect. Luck not quite been on his side so far, but I have a feeling there's going to come a time where those shots that count, they will land, and it seems to be the way with JW. He really tends to be a player that can just dish out the damage exactly when required. And so far, Dignitas, they are playing a very much slow play right now, just waiting, biding their time, seeing when is the best opportunity for them to strike. Maybe looking to catch JW off guard as he's just going to be jump spotting. And it's a shame they haven't quite spotted his head, so no jump frag going to be coming in crazily just yet. As Config now going to be going very aggressive with the Tech 9, picks up one, spamming away on the second, nearly makes a mess of things. Will get traded out towards the end of things by Crims. It's a 2 versus 2.
Yeah, this is looking like way too even a scenario considering what was brought into the round from Dignitas. No utility left even on the Godsent side, so it's all down to these aim positions. MSL, he's got that AWP waiting towards the bomb. He just needs to connect one shot. There's no flashbangs, but they are going to bait him out. Now we look towards the support from Rubino. He's the one with the rifle already. Pronax finding the first. They don't know where the second player is, but have now spotted out Rubino. He's up close too. He's got the AWP. Already the bomb is going to start being defused, and they will get that round. A round that should have been much more easy, but they do get it nonetheless.
That was nowhere near clear cut. That's the big thing that sticks with me right now. Godsent, though, what counts for them is the rounds. That's what they need. They don't want to let this one run away from them. The struggle for them last map was the fact that Dignitas had already picked up one hell of a bulk of the rounds in the match. Now this is a much closer scoreline, 11-8. It's something they can easily work with.
It's 4 rounds now, 3 bomb plants for Dignitas. So the only round I think they didn't get a bomb plant was the round where they just ran into Crims with the Glocks. So it hasn't been clean by any stretch, but they are grinding back out these rounds. And the thing is, the more rounds that go by, the more it is likely that Dignitas will start to struggle. So far, not too much of a problem. If they win this round, they're still going to be breaking that economy, which is quite scary considering 4 rounds in a row. Well, Dignitas had 5 rounds in a row and does 2, and they had 10K. Nowhere near the sort for Godsent. So it has been very, very close. In terms of this round, they are just slowly pushing different avenues. You can see Magis going into the connector area, which is not being challenged at all by Godsent. And in terms of lurking, we have Rubino over towards B, while the majority are still, well, I suppose 2 of them around toilets.
Playing the Patience game, Schneider will go for a bit of a peek on himself, takes down MSL. Conflict there to trade things back, so playing the insurance policy role, but there is Flusher. He's woken up, he's found himself too, looking for the third on towards Cajun B, and he should be able to find this one nice and comfortably, and he does just that, as now Rubino, he's left all alone, a million places to check, but nowhere really left to run. Is the only option he's got. Push through Fountain, push towards my friends, and try and claw something back, but the answer for Flusher still, it's going to be a door slammed back straight in his face.
That's the second time now that Flusher has just individually won a round for Fnatic, picking up 4 kills both times. The first time on the T side, just pushing onto that A site. This time, well, on the CT side of the A site, and just basically picking off player after player. The initial frag wasn't to his name, but the rest were definitely all in his hands. However, Dignitas, they still have the money to buy back up. Loss bonus has built up, 3,400 across the board for their team. And even going to have the AWP onto Cajun as that extra bit of firepower.
Looking to see what these 2 AWPs can actually bring to the table this time around, because this is a very important round. It's going to pay huge dividends on either side of the economy from what I can see, because you look at Dignitas, well, it's very painful for them. Yes, they're somewhat aided at this point, but it's still, well, nothing too peachy.
Yeah, both AWPers for the teams are currently at the bottom of the board. JW and Cajun both not having the best game so far. I do feel like Cajun hasn't had much of a chance so far on this T side to get his AWP out. It was 10-6 when the half ended. It's now 10-11, so not having too much of an impact so far. JW is holding the angle, and he has a lot of support at the moment, already rotating a 4th player over towards the A side, so a very good read at the moment. And even Magis, though, is going to be the first to find a kill. Looking for a little bit more aggressive from Flusher, finds the first, falls back, uses his position to actually get away. And this is actually a decent trade now, although a lot of damage being done.
Flusher going to find himself a second. MSL finally going to pick up a trade, so brings it back to that even Stevens marker. And this is a smart response almost coming in. Be aggressive when your opposition is aggressive, finding those quick trades as Crims will take down Rubino, punishing him as he tries to push himself out of Monster. You can see an inkling they want to go towards short. But they've had second thoughts. They decided, you know what, we're going to head towards the A site, but you've really hit the nail on the head. They physically they have no time. No matter how long they want to put this one, they could throw on their speed boots and whip as fast as they can. It's just not going to happen. As JW even picks off Cajun B to add insult to injury, Pronax will cut down MSL, and, well, maybe they would have crunched that one out. Either way, I just didn't think it was going to happen, especially with those 2 players there, just to basically hold things off, because they could have died and still wouldn't have mattered. The distraction of them alone being there would have secured the round.
Yeah, now Godsent still not too secure on their economy, but they have rolled 6 rounds together now. So Dignitas definitely losing that streak themselves. You have to remember, towards the end of the half, they themselves had, I think, 7 rounds in a row. So maybe even 8. Yeah, no, 8 rounds in a row. And then they won the pistol as well. So a lot of rounds for Dignitas. This is the first time the streak has been going the other way in any of the maps so far. And, well, this Molotov has just done wonders. This time it does slow them down rapidly. Already a rotation has come out. Pronax up close, should be able to clean this up quite easily with support from JW. And now that they have the full utility, they are looking much more deadly.
A simple and easy mop-up, and, well, by the sounds of things, this is where the pause is going to roll on in. And, well, I have a feeling in which way this one is swaying, and I think this is a smart time to call it, because we are at that 11-11 scoreline. It gives them a bit of a break without letting them stride ahead in that regard. It's a smart play overall. Now the big question is, what do they change?
Well, more importantly, it's kind of difficult to actually say what they should change, because a lot of it has just been early on. They were actually doing quite well, getting the bomb plant almost every single time. I think, yeah, 3 out of 4 rounds they had the bomb plant. It's just the last 3 where things haven't been working out for them. Flusher single-handedly ending them a couple of times, finding multiple frags and really starting to step up in this game. He wasn't there so much in the first. And, well, the scary thing is now Magisk has gone a little bit quiet, and he really was one of the deciding factors in how dominant they were in the first. Other than that, well, Cajun with the AWP hasn't had too much of an impact. Would like to see if he can find a pick. If they get rid of JW, open up the side a little bit, maybe there's more of a problem. The other thing is as well, whenever they have gone B, they've just tried to run at Crims. And now that he has Molotov, now he has utility, it definitely isn't working quite as well. So there are plenty other avenues on that B side they could try and exploit. In terms of A, most of the time they've tried to challenge Schneider and Flusher on shore, and they just failed.
The same recurring story in terms of challenging those angles. Well, we've pretty much covered it all, and it feels like we're going to be coming to the end of our tactical pause very, very soon. Just waiting for those clocks to be turned. Well, there you have it. We are going to be kicking things back off. And in terms of what we're seeing being brought up on either side, it's fairly self-explanatory. It's going to be a buy on both sides of the coin. The AWP is going to be respectively in play, and we've talked about them being basically not too impactful on this map so far. We saw a couple of nice picks here and there on both sides of the board, but it's been nothing too crazy.
Well, I sort of miss that aggressive style of AWPing from JW, just running all the way up, and well, there you go. He's going straight into connector looking for a pick. He's not going to see anyone this time, but that's what I want to see from him. I want to see that exciting, well, not so much exciting, but just that aggressive play style. Here's Flusher again, spraying down 2. He has support, but it's him doing most of the work, a little bit more looking for the frags, and Schneider, he's just missing everything there. Cajun steps up and brings them 2. Still an advantage thanks to Flusher with the triple. And now we actually have to see what Rubino and Cajun can do. Cajun very low on HP, down to just 11. And already, just look at this aggression now from Pronax, going all the way underneath. Has to be very careful, of course. The ladder is not the best place in the world to go up, and even shooting up the ladder is very, very risky. But if they had to drop down, he would have a prime angle to take them out.
Feels like Rubino has certainly clocked onto the fact there could be a player there, which means that Pronax, yes, he's in a nice position, but it feels somewhat devalued. At the same time, you can see they're heading towards this B site, which means that if Pronax pushes at the right time, could catch them off from behind at completely the perfect moment. Just as they're pushing will be basically the time for him to strike, which seems like that's his thought process. Just going to be inkling his way further and further forward. And this means we have to see a bit more speed coming in from Rubino and Cajun B, because the one problem they have got is just how dangerously low Cajun B in fact is.
And now 22 seconds left on the clock of Pronax. He's just spotted out one. That's the bomb on the floor. It will be picked back up very quickly, but they know exactly where this is, throwing flashbangs in. The second Rubino goes for any sort of plant, they're going to be straight on him. They know that this is coming. Crim's going to peek out into the Molotov and finish that one off. Godsent, for the first time, are going to be taking the lead in this map. And, well, that's big stuff already for them. That's a lot of rounds that they've won in a row. 8, in fact, winning every single round in this half so far. And the early positioning, the early, well, prowess, I suppose, from Dignitas has gone. And mentioned it in the last map, sometimes they do have problems on their T side. It's looking like they might have a few problems.
The big thing that sits for me is the one thing I was really praising on the Dignitas side on both sides of the coin in terms of halves was this explosive style. We're not really seeing that now. They seem to have gone back to very much a bit more of a passive setup, and well, now with these pistols, they're just going to be a bit more of basically chum for the Sharks, you could say, as they will find themselves 2 picks. But even that isn't anything too crazy to be shouting about.
Yeah, Flusher has just come to life on this CT side. He was doing some great stuff on the T side. Some of the rounds they won, the 4 rounds that they won, were a lot down to what he could do, the 4K he got in the first half. He's currently 26 and 17, overtaking Magisk. As said, Magisk was way up the top of the board when we started this second half. Hasn't had any sort of impact. The same can be said for the majority of players. MSL was having a reasonable half as well. I think he's had something like 3 kills max in this second. So, yeah, fragging power is going to be something that's mentioned, but a lot of this is they just can't shut down Flusher. And in terms of other players stepping up on the board, Pronax is currently second on the board, 21 and 15.
Not a bad scoreline at all, especially for a player such as Pronax, who you don't commonly see towards the top era of those boards. So they are going very much for a bit of a long play. 2 players going very, very aggressive, backed up by Cajun B, who's going to be behind them. The man just watching over them with the AWP as it will be MSL to pick up the first. JW going to come in with a collateral out of nowhere, it feels like. Flusher coming in with another one towards Config. Magisk finally will find a trade. Perhaps just biting a little too late. At this point, they are completely caught off guard. JW there to wrap them off. Will actually be taken down a peg, so Magisk going to be doing some work once again, starting to pop off just as we began to doubt, which is the perfect time.
Pronex is on the flank all the way around the back, though, and this could be a big, big play. Really, we're just looking to see whether or not Crims can just basically come in at the perfect time. It's all going to be about timing in this retake. Magisk planning on going aggressive, already taking all the way around. Whoever gets this kill is probably going to win the round, and this leaves it all down to Pronax. His positioning is not known, and he may be able to catch out Rubino, who will not know he's passed, although Magisk's positioning is absolutely perfect. Should be able to get this trade. Pronax going to go aggressive, not quite going to manage it. Magisk having a huge round once again. He went quiet for a bit, he's come back with a 4K, and that's going to be the first round in this half going to Dignitas.
Very nice stuff. We mentioned the time, in fact the time, I'm just going to end it there. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. The one round we actually started to doubt and highlight the fact that Magisk hadn't really shown up at all in the second half in comparison to his, well, rather impressive stat line in the first half. He delivers a 4K just straight on a platter.
Yeah, no, great stuff from him, but now they need to continue this. If they lose this round, they are setting themselves up to lose this. Again, aggression now coming out from JW. Want to see him finding these early picks. He may have got a collateral in their last round, but it wasn't enough for them to win it. Flashbang pops out. JW still holding the angle. It's him versus Magisk, who has definitely been that top player on the Dignitas side of things. They're going to need a little bit more if they want to take this in a 2-0, and if not, we may be heading on our way to train. JW, he's getting completely shut in here. Magisk is there. MSL will even find another in the meantime. Looking like a 13-0 scenario is becoming ever more likely. There is nobody currently on this B site, and I wonder if they have just completely abandoned it, opting for that save. The money is actually still pretty bad. You have to remember how many rounds they won in a row there. What, 9? And the maximum amount of money is Pronax on 3,900. Going down after that is JW with 2,700. So somehow, even with all of those rounds in a row, they haven't managed to build up any money, and it's a big, big problem. Now they're going to actually have to save in order to get a buy in the next round.
Just highlights how close some of these rounds have been. It's not really been a clear whitewash. Yes, they've been stringing one hell of a line together, but still, the outcome is the fact their economy nowhere near peachy. You take a look at this one, it's going to be 13-13. That's how this one will roll, and I think saving is a smart call because 13-13 is nothing too scary to be dealing with. It's very much equal headings. When it does start to get worrying is basically the winner of this next round. Because this one, well, that's why you start to have to basically deal with the fact that if you don't bring it back to 14-14, you're starting to rely on some huge plays because things are going to get a little bit heated.
Yeah, and I think in terms of scenarios, it's probably a little bit better for Dignitas. Although they're on the unfavored map, so unfavored side of the map, so it does unbalance a little bit. But because they kept that round so clean, their money has got them enough that they'll be able to get a buy in the next round. Not anything too crazy or like, oh my god, that's like full buy, full nades, everything. No. But if they got a bomb plant here, even if they did lose, they would have enough. So definitely a better scenario for them, whereas if Godsent are to lose this round, yeah, they have a little bit of money left, but it would basically rely on them saving weapons again. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So definitely a pivotal round in this map, and possibly even the series, depending on which way this one goes.
Flasher just going to be popping down a couple of smokes and holding the angles. We've seen him be a pivotal player for the Godsent lineup so far, really starting to up the ante in the second half with the franks he has been delivering. The positioning, well, I almost want him just to get the urge to rotate towards long because this could be perfect. But Dignitas, they're still having second thoughts. They're in this midlife crisis style of phase. Just caught out as we get down to this minute marker going, hold up guys, do we actually need to push towards long? Because we could really go anywhere at this point. They've got the lurker of Rubino just kind of darting around the place, seeing what is the way. He's now going to be regrouping with that core lineup, including the bomb, over towards toilets. They could quite easily dart towards connector.
Yeah, this is just waiting now, 40 seconds left. Dignitas starting to run the clock. Nades have pretty much all been expired, and there goes Flusher. He's been pivotal on this site so far. Schneider up close is not going to be finding the shot, but, well, actually, he manages to grab 2 after that. Magisk is the one who closes him down eventually. Now we look towards JW. We'll push through this smoke, just sitting on the edge. The bomb is going to be going down. He's not quite managing to find Magisk, who gets away with it as Pronax and Cajun trade frags.
just going to be playing around the truck, looking for the frag on towards JW. That's going to be the original player for him to find. The push going to be rolling on him. Magisk will find the first. Now just playing Crims, left in a very tough scenario, but Magisk, he's 1 HP. Cajun B on 19, so this is completely doable. The bomb, it's going to be ticking away. He will find the head of Magisk, so it brings it back to that ever so dearly required 1 versus 1. But don't forget that bomb is still going to be ticking away. And Cajun B, he has the open hand. He will find the pick, and there you have it. A very nice round rolling in Dignitas. They will walk away with it. Well, a very nice performance. And we mentioned that 13-14. That's where things start to get a little bit more heated.
Oh, they're going for it.
It's going to be Dignitas walking away with it. And in terms of the crazy kind of buys and the force-ups here, well, as you say, they are going for it.
It's not that bad. It's not as bad as I initially thought. They had a little bit of extra money left, and they will have to skimp on a UMP. Still have quite a few nades in play, but it's definitely not as good as that Dignitas buy. Still, if they can break this one back, there's an opportunity for both teams to still take this map. It's definitely not over just because of that round. Massive round coming out again from Magisk. He's now up to 31 frags, and Flusher, who was pretty much giving him a run for his money, has fallen off a little bit. So it is the battle of the Titans at this stage. 3 players currently over towards that B site, possibly expecting some sort of initial aggression, leaving Schneider and Flusher to just combine over towards the sort of toilets position, taking quite a lot of aggression on long. No AWP anymore, and, well, except in the hands of Cajun, it won't be JW wielding that. Can't afford it, and, well, hasn't done anything too crazy with it so far. Now we look at that aggression, already pushing their way towards this B site, and this could work quite well for Godsent. Their setup does seem to be favoring there. Of course, Pronax only with a UMP, not ideal.
The big thing that comes to mind when you say the setup could work well is if they just bite the bullet and go. They're just waiting. They're trying to play the patience card, but Crims, this works perfectly for him. They want to pre-monitor this one. You can see it flying on Cajun B. He will kick things off. Crims going to be doing some damage. Takes down Config, so it will be a return nonetheless. But now Pronax, he really has to do something with the UMP. As Rubino, he's just going to cut him down right where he stands. Flusher just going to be dropped down towards Connector, and oh, you can hear the cheers starting to kick on in as Magisk, he's just going to be doing so much work towards Connector. Picks up another frag. Incredible performance rolling on out, and Magisk still just being a play to watch.
Yep, now up to 33-17. The next player on his team has 18 frags. I don't think it's even arguable at all who is currently this MVP in this match. Absolutely phenomenal stuff coming out from the man himself. So good on the CT side. Was slow to start on the T side, but the second he's woken up, they've now managed to string 4 rounds in a row. Pause for Godsent. They are 1 round away for being the 3rd Titan to be knocked out of this tournament. I think the 3 teams, maybe that's it, that's the curse. The 3 teams that were named, like, oh yeah, we're looking towards Godsent, we're looking towards Na'Vi, we're looking towards VP. Well, 1 round is all it takes at the moment for Dignitas, and they will be through. They will be the 2nd Danish team into the next day. Of course, we've still got Astralis to play, so they could be all 3, which I don't think many people would have expected to happen. It is still possible, and I'm almost excited to see if the Danes are going to be taking over now in this tournament.
What we've done is we've taken the almost kind of Anders Danish card. We've reversed engineered that one, and well,
it's because he's not here.
We've got a bit of an awkward outcome, and unfortunately, the Danes, they're doing quite well. On the flip side, well, the Titans, not so much. And well, the fact we are 1 round away from losing Godsent, a team with some huge names, well, that's a worrying prospect just in itself. But at the same time, no matter the outcome of this one at all, if they do take it to 3 maps, or if they do drop out of this one, they are a new lineup in terms of a fresh drive. I think people do need to realize that last time they did play together, it's a very different style of game. Counter-Strike changes on a daily basis. New things are invented, new play styles are brought to the table. So we really can't knock them overall.
Yeah, here we go, back into what could be the final round. It's going to be UMPs on 4 of the 5 Godsent players, the SMG of choice, and a hell of a lot of pressure on their shoulders at the moment. See, again, 3 players over towards that B site, 2 aggressively waiting over towards long, and this did work out for them previously. A lot of it relied on Flusher doing the work. Schneider, again, not having the best of games, but it's more looking at JW and Crims down the bottom of the board. Either way, it's been a very close game, and there's still the opportunity for it to be just that little bit closer. Rubino is playing that sort of role towards T-Spawn, making sure there's no aggression. Already they're sort of rotating back towards that B site though, taking the connector position. A lot of map control currently gained, and just look at the position of JW. He's going very aggressive. Molotov thrown out, he's going to fall back, not going to risk that position versus AKs. And you can see Pronax just jump spotting to see if anybody is close.
Best bet for Godsent at this point is just to hold those angles, and then once they get close, start pulling out the mobility factor, jump around the place, get yourself all over that portion of the map, as that's where, well, basically where the UMP can do wonders. But KGB, he's going to bring back that explosive factor, kicks things off with a frag on towards Schneider, and things are already beginning to crumble. But Flusher, he's going to go for a peek. Pronax is going to find one on the other side of the map. Flusher will in fact be taken down by KGB himself.
They've played it. They've got themselves a free A site just by finding these frags. Pronax, yes, he manages to get one, but he's not in the right spot now. They're going to have to try and retake with these weapons. Luckily, they picked up an AK, so that's the one long-range position. But look at Config. He's waiting, ready for any sort of push from Pronax. Surely he's not going to expect anybody to be here. Nice, easy kill. One more kill towards that sort of position where they are going to be knocking Godsent out of the tournament. 2 players remain, JW and Crims, making their way in. It's all going to be down to Crims. He's got to try clutches with the UMP. He's going to find himself a second, looking for the third, but the bomb is now ticking away. Does have himself a kit. The afterplant should be enough. I think they know this is over, and that is it for Dignitas. They have done it.
Very great stuff coming out from them, really. What an elf. Well, what can you say? There's nothing to knock, nothing to complain about. Huge players, all stepping up to the mark, and they're happy about that one.
Yeah, I do have to say, much better from Godsent, but not anything to rave about, for sure.
I feel like for Godsent, it's been an unfortunate couple of days. They delivered a couple of nice games here and there. Unfortunately, they had the E-League mishap last night in terms of losing out to alternate attacks. Now this, it is a string of unfortunate results, but it's nothing they can't build themselves back up from.
It's very early days. That has to be highlighted. I'm almost guarantee at some point there's going to be a step back from this team, have a little bit of a break, go for that practice period, and then they'll be back even stronger. I don't think this is anywhere near the end of this team. It's just they're out of this tournament. It's the end of their tournament history, and Dignitas are now through. So that's the bigger fact here. That's the bit we've got to highlight. Dignitas are now the second Danish team through. The third is the one that maybe people expected would be through, and another Titan is knocked out of the tournament. Of course, for anybody who has sort of missed those positions, or missed something towards the end of the game, for anybody who doesn't know by now, you can, of course, check out the Score Esports. They will give you not only all the stats and the news, but also all of the sort of tournament history so far of the last few days, which, well, it's been pretty hectic, let's put it that way. I don't think I can even remember all of the games and all the teams that have gone through. So make sure, of course, you can check that one out. I don't think I really need to give much of a shout out to Twitch, but of course,
all the VODs are available, suffice to say. I think it's kind of self-explanatory. You know where to find them. You know they're down there in the bottom right corner or something like that. So
they're everywhere. You guys know how Twitch works.
You guys know these things by now. Sure, I'm sure you've heard about these apps that appear and things such a long.
Just one. There's only one, and it's the Score. You can't go anywhere else. I'm just saying that now. Either way, before I get fired, I think that is it from us for now. We will be going possibly to an ad break, or maybe to the stage, or even straight back to the analysts. I'm not actually too sure where we're going with this one, so hopefully somebody will just run something here.
Gaming Bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2, make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO, guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.
Getting tired of playing with the usual skins, but don't have enough money to buy a new one? Get rich fast with CSGoFast.com. CS Go Fast. It's a strong chance of winning in every game. Several rooms with different game modes. Daily, more than 1,000 games, 5,000 players, and 25,000 skins at stake. You don't need much in order to sweep the board.
Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and StarCraft 2, the largest contests in the history of esports. Among the national teams, World Electronic Sports Games, the World Championship with the total prize pool of $4.5 million US. Registration for Europe and CIS regions is open. The finals will be held from October 6 to 9 in Kiev, Ukraine. Win your slot in the finals of the World Championship. Register right now.